Today, I am ranking every boss from Dark Souls 3. I'll be ranking them on difficulty as well as fun. With the two scales, I will then at the end go through them and decide who were my favorites and who were my least favorites. This is all based on purely a first playthrough that was done completely blind. My build was Halberd or Dragon Tooth once I got it, which was very late in the game. I will be ranking the bosses mostly in order with a few small exceptions. So I will let you know kind of as I go what the order was and like if there's any where I went out of order and how that likely made some of them easier than they should be. Because there's a few I fought way too late. Two in particular. The further up they are, the harder the bosses. The further right they are, the more fun the bosses. We'll be going through them at the end to fine-tune the details. But I think I'm pretty much ready to start ranking these bosses. And since we're going in order, we start with Iudex Gundyr. I really liked the first phase of Gundyr. He was a really cool duel, which was some of the stuff I love from Dark Souls 2. As well, it was cool the way it started. I like how you pull the sword out and he wields and attacks you. It was a really good start. Phase 2, I didn't like. It kind of took away from it. It made it tougher. It still wasn't a tough boss. But I don't like that attack where you can't see what's happening. So fun, lower. Put it around here for fun. Difficulty, pretty low too. I'll put Gundyr here. That will probably change. For now, Gundyr's going down. Next up is Vort. I don't like Vort. Big enemy, you can't see what they're doing, especially phase 2. It's like the second half of Gundyr, but more of the fight. It was tougher. It was definitely much tougher than Index. It took me 4-ish tries. So not brutal, but definitely on the tougher side compared to Index. I'm gonna put Vort around here. Because I found him, very unfun. The next boss I actually fought was the Abyss Watchers. So, Abyss Watchers. They were fun. They weren't super fun, but they were fun. So they're probably gonna go somewhere around here. Difficulty. They were tough. But not that tough. There? I'm gonna start there for Abyss Watchers. That may change. Because compared to the first two bosses, I loved them. But there were later bosses I liked a lot more. And found a lot more fun. The next boss I fought was the Crystal Sage. So, for the Crystal Sage... Wait, is that the next boss I fought? No. The next boss I fought was High Lord Wolnir. Difficulty, he's the lowest so far. It did technically take me 2 tries, but I went into the first try with no Estus and about 3/4 health. Fun? It wasn't unfun. I'll put it here. I'll put it there. I may move it down, but I'll put it there for now. You were in there. Where's that in relation to me? I think next is Deacons of the Deep or Crystal Sage. When did you go into the cathedral? I can't remember now. I don't know, I'll do Crystal Sage next. Crystal Sage was annoying. Not that hard, but annoying. Similar difficulty to Vort, slightly easier, I'd say. Annoying, not as much as Vort, I'll put it there. Simple. Deacons of the Deep, fairly easy. Easier than Sage. Fun-wise, I liked them. They were fun. Not Abyss Watchers, but they were fun. I enjoyed the Deacons of the Deep. Put them there. Next boss I fought. Aldrich is Anorlado. Pontiff is Irithorn. Dragonslayer is much later. Old Demon elsewhere. Jorm the Giant's under Irithorn. I think I did Jorm the Giant next. Jorm the Giant's an interesting one. Difficulty, I think, is even easier than the Deacons. So I'm going to move you two down. And I'm going to put Yorm in here for difficulty. Fun, it was better than Wolnir. Put it here. Again, so far, like, I liked Abyss Watchers. I liked Deacons. The other, like, these two I didn't dislike. Index, kind of, parts of it. But yeah, so far a lot of mediocre bosses. And bad ones. Next up is Pontiff Sullivan. This boss was brutal for me. From what I've seen, he's much easier if you parry. I didn't parry. I didn't use a shield. This was a couple hours. This boss was the one where I was comparing it with Ornstein and Smo for Ancient Dragon for time it took me. So difficulty, he's going to the top. Without a doubt, he's going to the top of difficulty. Fun? He was a fun fight. I really liked fighting the Pontiff. I loved Phase 2. Phase 2 of the Pontiff, if the whole fight was like that, he'd be like almost over here. As it is, Phase 1 sometimes just got a bit combo heavy, which was a big downer for me. So I'm going to put it around there. I'm going to start with Pontiff there. Next boss I fought was Aldrich, God Eater. Aldrich was also not fun. The spells were annoying to dodge. The stupid arrow attack in Phase 2 is just BS and just kills you. She kept teleporting, which is just... Or they kept teleporting, I don't know. Which is just annoying. They took me several tries, more than Abyss Watchers. So I'm putting them around here. Because they were very difficult and not at all fun to fight. As you can see, I have strong opinions about some of these bosses. And then there's the ones I think are just meh bosses. The next boss I fought was the Dancer of the Boreal Valley. And this is tough. Dancer was tough. Dancer was tougher than Aldrich. I think Dancer was tougher than Aldrich. So I'm going to put Dancer pretty high up on difficulty. Not as tough as Pontiff. Not as tough as Pontiff. However, was Dancer as fun or more fun than Pontiff? This is really tough. Because Phase 1 Pontiff is less fun than Dancer. Phase 2 Pontiff is more fun than Dancer. Well, which is it? Dancer? Every death felt deserved. Because I was like panic rolled or something. Pontiff, that wasn't true. But the satisfaction of Pontiff was better. Some of the attacks of Dancer were so satisfying to dodge. I think Dancer was less fun. I think Dancer was less fun than Pontiff. Strictly for fun. Because there wasn't as much interesting stuff. It was just a really good fight. Still a very fun boss fight, though. I loved fighting the Dancer. After that, we got to Lothric Castle. And the first enemy I fought there was the Dragon Slayer armor. Again, this was a tough boss. I think this goes between Abyss Watchers and Vort for difficulty. Fun-wise, I'd put it between here, I think. Like, I think that's the right spot for Dragon Slayer armor. The weird elements were kind of interesting. It was a duel, which I do enjoy. But it wasn't the interesting parts I liked. Like, all the ones past it. All of these had parts I found fun. So I think that's the right spot. Next up, our Cyros Consumed King. This was another pretty easy one. I think this was easier than Yorm, actually. No. No, it's not easier than Yorm. Yorm was easy. But I'm going to move you all up a bit. Honestly, Vort was tougher than that. There should be more disparity between those. Deacons, it's harder than Deacons. Is it harder than Deacons? I think it should be just as many tries. But I don't think I was as close to dying. And the first try, I had no life. I had no Estus. So no, honestly, Osiris, how fun was it? It was better than Yorm. I think it's worse than Dragon Slayer, so I'm going to put it there. I think that's my spot for Osiris. After that was Champion Gundyr. Champion Gundyr took the good part of the Index Gundyr fight and made it better. I loved this fight. I did first try it. I found it slightly harder, easier than Yorm. Yeah, I first tried this. Yorm I didn't, even with the weapon. But Yorm was one where I feel like I could first try it again. Champion Gundyr, though, I found fairly easy. But how fun was it? It's above Abyss Watchers. I love this fight. Abyss Watchers were really cool. But it wasn't that it wasn't that fun to fight, even it was just really cool. This was actually fun to fight. How fun was it? Does it beat Dancer? No, it doesn't beat Dancer. No, it doesn't beat Dancer, but it was a really fun fight. After that, I fought Lothric, Younger Prince. And talk about a cool fight. Difficulty-wise, was this... Okay, it's up top. It's around here. I can tell you that, because it's one of the most fun bosses, one of the hardest ones. I don't think it was as fun as Dancer or Gundyr and Soliva. It was cool. I loved the fight. Was it better than Abyss Watchers? It's harder. Is it harder than Dancer? It's not as hard as Soliva. I think it was harder than Dancer. And I think it was more fun than Abyss Watchers. So I think Lothric belongs there. A very strong top right corner. Like, these 4 bosses are all amazing. Now, I'm going to do a few that are not in the same order I fought them in. Because the next boss I fought was Soul Cinder. I'm going to do the other 4 first, before I do Soul Cinder. Starting with the Curse Rotted Greatwood. I fought this guy after Soul Cinder. I missed him. I didn't get any boss weapons. It didn't seem fun. Like, I think it's between Crystal Sage and Eudex. Difficulty, it was pretty low. I don't have a good idea because I fought it really late. But I'm putting it between Eudex and Wolnir. Because it was pretty easy. One that I found easier was actually Old Demon King. I smoked him. I found out after the fight he has a phase 2. I never saw his phase 2. I killed him that quickly. Because this list is my own experience, but I do want to consider others, I'm not going to mark him as the easiest. He's going to be second easiest. Fun, it was fine. I'll put it right in the middle. Between Dragon Slayer and Osiris. Starting to be fun. Wolnir down. Wolnir was really easy. I think I used like, I don't even know if I used an Estus when I finally beat Wolnir. Now, I have Ancient Dragon. Ancient Dragon's a weird one. Because I fought the dragon. I tried fighting the dragon. I took over a third of his health before I realized it's a plunge. And that, I didn't hate doing that. I think Deacons are too low. I'm going to move these further right for this Watchers. I think Wyvern fits in here for fun. For the Wyvern. And also for the end. Difficulty? The difficulty is from the other enemies around. It's not actually that tough. I think it goes here. I'm putting the Ancient Wyvern there, because also it wasn't that tough to just fight the Wyvern on its own. So I'm putting Ancient Wyvern there. Nameless King. This is another very memorable boss. Tough one to rank. It was tough. It was a tough boss. I don't think it was one of the toughest ones for me. Like, Aldrich was tougher. Aldrich was tougher for sure. Abyss Watchers, I found tougher as well. So I think it's there in terms of difficulty. It's in this spot. Where on fun? Not as good as Lothric. Abyss Watchers, I think it's between Abyss Watchers and Deacons. So I'm going to move the rest of these left, because I have more room on the left. Yeah, I think this is better. This looks like a better organization of like how fun they are. Bit clearer to see. That's better. And that's the spot with Nameless King. Tough, fun, not absurd either, but both. Now we get to Soul of Cinder, the final boss in the base game. I really enjoyed the fight. I liked how he switched modes. That being said, it wasn't that tough. I think it goes about here in terms of difficulty. For fun, there's so many good duels. Dark Souls 3 is the best. It has so many good duels. So this is a difficulty spot. The fun-wise, it's above Nameless. It's above Abyss. It's above Lothric. I think I'm moving them all to the right. Dancer and Pontiff. I think that's the right spot for Souls in there. I think it was more fun than Champion Grenadier, but it's close. Now we get to DLC. Interesting, it's forming a very diagonal line. Sister Freed. And all 3 phases of it. Oh, this was a boss. This was brutal. This is harder than Lothric. So not as hard as Pontiff, harder than Lothric. This is the most frustrated I got at any boss in this game. Easily. Without a doubt, too. This was the only boss I've had in Dark Souls where my housemates had to come tell me to be quiet. So Freed goes to the top. Fun? It wasn't. I found Freed unfun. I think here. Because, like, Phase 2 I enjoyed. The invisibility attack I could never figure out. I don't know if it wasn't high enough volume or what, but I could never get it, so it was just, like, annoying. Phase 3 was hard to get hits in. Like, any one of the phases on its own I would have liked. But it just... I didn't like it. Something about it I did not like Sister Freed. I can appreciate every part of it individually, but as a whole, it felt like it would have been better split into 2 boss fights. Because I really liked the part with the big guy. Alright, speaking of 2 boss fights, we now have Champion Gravetender and his wolf. This one was easy. This didn't feel like it should be DLC. Honestly, I found Crystal Sage hard. Champion Gravetender is going to go here for difficulty. For fun, it was fun. Nameless King, Deacon level, whereabouts though? I really liked it. But I don't think it was actually as fun. I think it's comparable with like Wyvern. Alright, I think that's a good scale for fun. It's between the Wyvern and the Deacons and the Deacon. So, Painted World of Ariandel? 2 bosses I like. Like, I don't hate either of them that much, but no, bosses didn't blow me away. But then we get to the next DLC. And here, the bosses get better. Starting with the demons. Demon from Below, Demon in Pain, and then the Demon Prince, I believe, is the second phase. I love this fight. This fight was a blast. This fight, actually, is more fun than Pontiff Sullivan. Difficulty-wise, it's nowhere near as hard. I think it's a little bit higher than Soul of Cinder for difficulty. Like, I think it goes about here. I think that's the perfect spot for the demons. I really liked the demon fight. It was great. Half-Light, Spirit of the Church. This was a weird one. It didn't feel as hard as demons, even though it took me more tries. So, I think it's going to go about there for difficulty. Soul of Cinder. No, between the 2. Now, fun. I think it goes here for fun. Just because of the problems with, like, the enemies you fight at the start of it. I think that really drags it down. And the regular fight was just fine. Like, I think it had problems, and there was nothing amazing about it. Then we get Dark Eater Madir. I hate Dark Eater Madir. It was brutal, had way too much health, and was a really annoying boss. There's your spot, Madir. You're not as hard as Freed or Sullivan, but you're harder than most of the base game bosses. Are you harder than Lothric? Yeah. Yeah, I think Lothric may take me more tries, but they were fast and fun tries. And it was just like, oh, my health can't break. No. Dark Eater Madeira, every moment felt like torture. Slave Knight Gale. I've gone through these pretty quickly. Slave Knight Gale, technically, actually, it's not the last boss I fought. I fought Dark Eater Madeira last, and I'm sad I did. I wish I had fought Madeira, and then found Slave Knight Gale. Because Slave Knight Gale was the most fun boss in the game. He wasn't the toughest. He was not even close to being the toughest boss. I beat him in 2 tries. I wish it had taken me more. That is a rare sentence. So I'm trying to decide, where do I put him for difficulty? Even though I did it in 2 tries, it still didn't feel easy. Because of that, Gale is going here for difficulty. Below Aldrich, below Abyss Watchers, above Nameless King. Because Nameless King was similar. It felt tougher than the number of tries it took. But it didn't take me down. Whereas Vort's like the opposite. And that's our base ranking of every boss in Dark Souls 3. Now I want to go through it and confirm the order for fun and difficulty. So, starting with fun. Dark Eater Madeira is the least fun. Then Aldrich, then Sister Fried. No, actually Sister Fried's more fun than Aldrich. So Aldrich I'm going to put right on the line. Or it'll be a little bit off the line. Sister Fried's in a large amount. Then the Crystal Sage, yeah. Then the Crystal Sage. Then Greatwood, yeah. Then Eudex. Then Wolnir. Is that right, actually? I think so. I really didn't like that first phase of Eudex. I'm actually putting Wolnir above Yorm, though. Fun. And then Half-Light. Half-Light's more fun than him. Then Osiris, Old Demon King, Dragon Slayer, yes. Okay, I'm trying to just organize it. It's not the easiest. As long as you can clearly see the order. Yeah, Dragon Slayer just touching the edge. Then the Wyvern. Yeah, absolutely, that's next. Then Champion Gravetender. Absolutely, that's next. Then Deacons of the Deep. Yeah, they're the next one. And Champion Gravetender I like. This is the first boss I would say is fun, is Gravetender. And everything to the right of here is a fun boss. Then Deacons, then Nameless King. Yep. Then Abyss Watchers. Yes, but like, that's a jump. That's a jump from Nameless King to Abyss Watchers. Then Lothric, then Gundyr, then Soul of... Oh, this is so hard to rank. I think that's right. I think I stick with that. The Dancer, Pontiff, Demon Slave? I think, yeah. I think that's the order. I think that is the order for fun. It's really hard to rank once I get to Abyss Watchers. I feel like in either other Dark Souls game, Abyss Watchers would be one of the most fun bosses, which is absolutely very high praise. I feel like Abyss Watchers is too low, but it isn't, based on the other bosses. So now difficulty. Wolnir's the easiest? Yeah. Then Old Demon King. Then Greatwood, yes. To be fair, these two I fought very late in the game. Chances are, if I fought them earlier, they would be higher, but I'm leaving them there. Then the first Gundyr, then the second Gundyr. No, I actually found the second Gundyr easier. So I'm putting Old Demon King bordering the bottom. Curse Running Greatwood barely off the bottom. Then Gundyr, a noticeable spot, but still not far off the bottom. Then Eudex. Then Yorm, then Wyvern. 2 gimmick bosses, I think Yorm's the easier of the 2. Then Osiris, then Deacons, I think that's right. Those are bosses who took me like 2 tries each and didn't feel like they should take more. Osiris, I feel like I got a bit lucky. Then Grave Tender. Is that right? Honestly, yeah, he wasn't pushover. Pretty easy. Then Crystal Sage. I think so. Then the final boss, Soul Cinder. Soul Cinder or Half-Light? I think Half-Light's easier, actually. I think that's the right order of those two. Then the Demon Bros. Again, only 2 tries. Are they easier than Vord and Dragon Slayer? Absolutely they are. Yeah, that's the right order. Then Vord. Then Dragon Slayer. I think Dragon Slayer is easier than Vord. I think that's the right order of those two. After Vort, though, we get to the bosses where it felt very tough, even though they all took me at least a few tries, except Slave Knight Gale. Nameless is next. Then Slave Knight Gale, who, even though I beat him 2 tries, still felt tough, so I'm putting him there. Then Aldrich. Yeah. No, Aldrich is tougher than Abyss Watchers. Wait, why is that order? That's the wrong order. That's better. Then Dancer. Lothric, the Deer, Freed, Soul. Yeah. Alright, that is the final order of my ranking for Dark Souls 3 bosses. Bring it down. So it's a bit bigger now. So, I've now ranked them all on my 2 scales. Now I want to talk about who are my favorites. And who are my least favorites. I hope you can guess the extremes of either. So, least favorite's easy. Midir. I hate Midir. Not a fun boss. Then Eldritch. Then Vort. 3 least fun or my 3 least favorite. Hey, what a shocker. After that, Freed. Or Crystal Sage. I think I like Crystal Sage less than I like Sister Freed. So I think Sage is less fun than Freed. So I think so 4th least favorite, 5th least favorite is Freed. That covers the top left corner. After that, I don't like the Great Wood. Wasn't that fun. Then Yorm. Then Udex, I think. Then Gundyr 1. Yeah, then I think it goes Great Wood, Giant, Gundyr. I don't hate Wolnir, actually. I'd probably put Wyvern next, actually. Wyvern, Wolnir, Osiros, I think, is the next 3? Yeah, Wyvern, Wolnir, Osiros. Then Demon King, Half-Light, Dragon. No. Half-Light, Dragon Slayer, Demon King. I think Demon King's the last one before the bosses I would say I really like. Because I really like the Champion Grave Tender. I really like that boss. Is it next? No, Deacons is next. I like Deacons less than Grave Tender. I think I even like Grave Tender. No, I don't like Nameless. So Deacons and Grave Tender. And now I get to the really fun bosses. Almost. First there's Nameless King, who, yeah, he's next to my list. Now I get to the really interesting ones. And this is where it gets really tough to rank them. Which ones are my favorite? Just like it's really tough to rank which fights are the most fun. I can go for the top. Gale's my favorite. Slave Knight Gale's my favorite boss. Possibly just in all of Dark Souls. Is it Demons next? I don't think so. Maybe. No, it is the Demons next. The way I just gotta, like, stun them and then follow up. Oh, so much fun. So yeah, Slave Knight Gale, then Demon Bros. 2 bosses I wish had taken me more tries. Then Pontiff or Dancing. Or Soul, or a different one. Honestly, I think that they're so cool fights. Alright, Champion Gundyr is my least favorite of these. It's really fun to do, but it doesn't have the cool factor all the others here do. I think Abyss is next least favorite. So top 2, bottom 2. Then I've got these 4 left to rank. Oh, that's so hard to rank. They're all such good duels. I think Lothric is my least favorite of them. And then Pontiff, Dancer. I think Pontiff's my least favorite of them. Because that phase 1 was brutal. Pontiff was the point where it was slightly too difficult, so it was not my favorite anymore. And I think I like Dancer less than Soul Cinder. So actually, my favorite base game boss is the last boss. Because he was really cool. Again, only took me 2 tries. Wish it was more. Yeah, I think that's right. No, that's, yeah. That's an interesting order. Dark Souls 3 has some very good bosses. And some bosses where I really don't like them at all. That being said, I don't think it's as bad as the worst bosses in other games. Actually, let's take a quick look. Top left corner of all these. Dark Souls 3 bosses. Dark Souls 2 bosses. These are both less fun than Midir. These make Midir look tolerable. Dark Souls 1, that's how it is. I think Bit of Chaos is definitely worse than Midir. There we go, that's better. So yeah, I would say Dark Eater Midir, while it's a boss I hate, it's not in my, 3 most hated. Slave Knight Gale is probably my favorite boss in the series. I really can't think. My favorite boss from 2, Smelter, is better than Smelter. I think everything from Abyss Watchers on is better than Smelter. No, maybe not. But I think Demon Bros beats Smelter. Dark Souls 1, Ornstein and Smoke, maybe are comparable to Demon Bros. But Slave Knight Gale is better. Slave Knight Gale is my favorite boss in the series so far. I hope that I can then soon play Sekiro and find a way to play Bloodborne, because I do not own a PlayStation. Because I had a blast with Dark Souls 3 and 2 and 1. So I hope I can do more of these. For now though, that is my ranking for Dark Souls 3 bosses. Have a great day, everyone.